This segment is going to be very running back heavy because traditionally those are the guys that have the highest bust potential from injury, regression, contract situations. Jay, though, you're going out on a limb and going against any of those.
Yeah, I don't like to use the word bust with Saquon Barkley, who is probably going to be really good this year, but don't like to pay for peak seasons, career seasons for a running back the year after. We've seen this too many times. Christian McCaffrey was the #1 running back drafted last year. How did he go? 2021 Jonathan Taylor. How did he go following year? Like, I just don't want to pay for that because there's just the more carries that you get, the more strain you put on your body, the more likely you are to have a weaker year the following year. And Saquon Barkley last year had 482 touches between the regular season and the postseason. It was completely insane. And also he had relative health for his offensive line, for his quarterback, and if either of those things start to go down, then all of a sudden the flaws in Saquon, in terms of his fantasy profile, they come more to the fore. Doesn't get much work in the passing game, doesn't get goal line carries because of the tush push, and he was very dependent last year on just breaking these 70-yard runs. And I get it, he's Saquon Barkley, he's probably better positioned than anyone to do that, but you're just not going to replicate that at the same level. So, look, where Eagles fans get very upset with me when I talk negative about the Eagles. I got nothing against the Eagles.
They know you're a Giants homer.
Yeah, they know I'm a big Giants fan. So you're very upset when I say Jalen Hurts isn't a top 5 quarterback, which, by the way, he's not, but Bryce Harper is my favorite baseball player, Philadelphia sports fans. So, look, I just think with Saquon, you're just paying too much for last season, and there's just a lot of regression indicators this year.
The other thing is I don't have a stat for this, but I feel like last year was a something to prove year. Oh, the Giants didn't want me, and the Hard Knocks clip that went so hard.
It's human nature.
It was just a little bit like, running back shouldn't get paid, and then I'm going to show you, right? And the Eagles were like, we're going to get back to the Super Bowl. The year before had been tough by Eagles standards, there've been coaching issues and everything like that. So it just felt like the entire team, especially with Saquon, had a chip on their shoulder. We're going to show you. We're going to prove you. I'm not saying they don't have that same desire, that same hunger, but last year, no team was more run-heavy in the NFL than the Philadelphia Eagles. And previously, the past couple of years under Sirianni, prior to last year, they were sort of like in the, they were like 20 to 22. They were in that range. So they're like a bottom 10, or a top 10, depending on how you want to look at it in terms of, being run-heavy. But they weren't like, 32nd. They weren't like the most run-heavy team in the NFL. So I think even if they just become like a normal run-heavy team as opposed to a very strong, an insanely lopsided run-heavy team, I think some of that comes down. I could see them wanting to, again, to your point about 482 touches. Like the Eagles, rightfully so, are like, we want to defend our Super Bowl. We think we're going to be playing in February in San Francisco on NBC. I'm a company man. And so they're going to want to limit some of those touches as well.
Yeah, right. I also just think if you ask the average football fan who's a bigger injury risk this year, Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley, pretty much everyone's saying Christian McCaffrey because he was hurt last year. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it's the guy who had 482 touches last year as opposed to the guy who appears to be fully healthy in camp and didn't play that much last year, which was bad because he got injured, but also didn't put as many miles on. So
it's why
I think it's I don't think it's a big gap anyway. Yeah,
I mean, I have McCaffrey at 3. I have Saquon Barkley at running back 4. I have both obviously as first rounders this year, but there are I've seen drafts where Saquon Barkley goes #1 overall. I've seen him be the #1 running back off the board, and I think we're sitting here saying, there are other players we'd like at that position. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.